Hi AP Research students, Mr. Muller here, and in today's video we're going to be talking about discipline-specific formats. Now I have to preface this. Not everything about learning is fun and exciting and groundbreaking. Sometimes it's a slog. Sometimes it's just some boring, rote stuff just to do what you're supposed to do. And this is one of those things. So, hope you're excited. I'm excited. Let's get started. Now again, the reason we talk about discipline-specific formats is in this research paper, I believe the 8th row of the research paper rubric is specifically assessing you on your discipline-specific formatting and its consistency throughout the paper. So we need to talk about this. But it's much more complex than just, what am I supposed to do, Mr. Muller? Do you tell me what discipline-specific format I'm supposed to use? Well, no, it doesn't get that way. It depends on your discipline. This is the 50th time I've probably said it. It depends on your discipline. But whichever one you choose, it's important to choose one that matches your discipline, and you must consistently use it. That is how you get a medium or a high on these sections of the AP research paper. So, the reason why there are so many formats are different disciplines focus on different things in terms of how they want things cited. And we'll talk about it more when we actually see these examples. So you have to choose the right one that matches your discipline. And you have to stick to it again. So let's talk about what these actually look like. This one, MLA, you've probably seen quite a bit, believe it or not. If you've ever done English classes, this is how they want you to write. And even though you've been forced to write an MLA a lot of times, it's never been explained to you why. Literature disciplines use MLA because if you look at literature-based research papers, it doesn't matter how old or new analysis is. Really, all they care about is that there has been analysis on a particular novel. So in in-text citations, you only get the author's name and the page number because the currency of that date doesn't matter, and older sources are acceptable. APA is something that you may have used in AP Seminar. I know I made all of my AP Seminar students use it. And the reason I made them use APA is because APA is if you're in any sort of social science discipline, law, politics, economics, history, sociology, psychology, you're going to be using APA. You're also going to be using it in business. So when you get to university, get ready. You're using APA. When I did my master's degree, I had to use APA for my education classes. And the reason why APA is so widespread is because in those disciplines, the currency of research matters. Because our perceptions of phenomena in psychology, sociology, politics, economics, history can change based on revolutionary research that may or may not occur. It's always important in text citations to also put in the date besides the author and the page number because currency of those sources matter. Now, we're going to get into two discipline-specific formats that you've never heard of. Chicago, or Turabian style, it's an interchangeable term, is something that you will use if you're doing a history-based research paper or a journalism-based research paper. And this is what I had to use when I did my undergrad degree in my history papers for my history education degree. Now the reason why history and journalism disciplines use Chicago style is because instead of doing an in-text citation with the author's name, date, or page number, you do footnotes or endnotes. It depends on your professor. Now the reason why you do these footnotes that you can see in the example below is because sometimes you have to note the source it came from or you have to include a quote. And if you had to do that in an in-text citation, because in history and journalism papers, you are citing a ton of things. I mean, almost every other sentence has an in-text citation. It would make the paper the flow would be really bad. It would seem unwieldy. It would just look terrible. So you do footnotes and endnotes. That's why that's required for those disciplines. Now, if you're doing a science-based research paper, biology, chemistry, physics, maybe engineering, you're going to use CSE. It's very similar. It's a bit of a mix between APA and Turabian. because you're still using footnotes or endnotes, but it focuses much more on years like APA does. And it's the same rationale for APA, because our understanding of different phenomena in the STEM fields can change dramatically year to year depending on research. The currency of the sources that you use matters. And so people who read that research need to know that the sources that you're basing your research on are current. Now, which one do I use, Mr. Muller? Well, it depends on your discipline. Look at the research papers you've collected, identify, and you can identify if it's CSC/Chicago or APA/MLA really quickly. Look at, do they have footnotes or endnotes? If they do, it's Chicago or CSC. If they don't, it's MLA or APA. Then to determine if it's MLA or APA, just look at, do they include a date? It's easy to determine that, and then that lets you know, here's what you need to use. Now, in terms of some suggestions, and I will talk about this more in class, go to Purdue University's online writing lab, or Purdue OWL, for great exemplars and resources for APA and MLA. There are also other resources you can look at for CSC in Chicago. Do not just put it into EasyBib. The reason why is you have to kind of go through the slog of doing this manually, because when you do it manually enough times, you actually get much quicker than trying to do stuff with EasyBib. Now, I know this because I had to do this in grad school, so just believe me, it's going to be much more effective in the long run. Well, that's it for today. Hope you learned something you didn't know before. Thanks for watching.